You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Another episode of the Red Moon Podcast, live every single Tuesday night right here on all your favorite social media networks, and the audio version downloadable on Thursdays at midnight. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host, Sean Sebastian, and
Keith Cheatham.
We have a first of its kind.
I did it for Sean.
We have a first of its kind. And we're live right now, and we're going to get it on air.
Uh-oh.
We're going to make sure Amazon knows they're screwed the pooch. What the hell is going on over there? Where's our Chromebook? That's what we want to know. That's right. Sean is on hold right now.
Yeah, it's muted, by the way. She's not listening to this.
But is
okay.
Well, she could tune in right now live on all of our favorite social media networks
And say,
But is she? So wait, this is customer service, right?
Yes.
Is this Amazon or is this like a distribution center?
It's
who knows?
Who knows? Are they in India?
They are not in this country. No.
Okay. So we established that.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, we want to know.
The person overseas has to figure out where his package is.
That's right.
So,
And who knows? It could be on a freighter. It could be going through where that bridge collapsed up there in, was that
well,
was
I believe
that
he
Pennsylvania?
they said it was delivered.
That
so,
wasn't
They
Pennsylvania.
said it
Where
was
that?
delivered, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So
Now, I have seen it happen. I've had this happen before where it has said it's delivered, and it's a courier, one of those independent couriers that come out and they drive in their personal car.
Yeah.
And then they don't deliver it till they say it's delivered, but it doesn't get delivered till like 2-3 hours later.
Oh.
Now maybe that's the case here. They didn't, because usually they snap a picture.
Yeah.
At least I know
there's no picture.
The UPS and the FedEx drivers snap a picture.
I'll check in real quick here.
Let's listen in. Let's see what she's got.
Are you still there? Okay. I just wanted to check. I hadn't heard anything, so.
Don't worry, I am here.
Okay. Do you listen to podcasts?
Yes, I can see the information in this one. Let me check.
Apparently she doesn't listen to podcasts.
I guess not.
nope.
Doesn't like podcasts. That's a no.
No podcast, no delivering packages.
I guess they don't want to do anything. Prime Day must have just really had them beat. That's what it must have been.
Handle it.
They
It's
can't.
too much.
Too much.
Can't do it.
Well, maybe we'll get a free Chromebook out of this.
I doubt it.
The way they're handling this, who knows?
Nobody knows.
But it's I've had this happen before. This is the world that we live in nowadays with delivering packages.
I know.
I'm just telling you. We got a great show, though, planned for everybody out there.
Yeah.
While we're still waiting to figure out if the Chromebook gets delivered.
It's the mystery of the missing Chromebook.
I mean, this is going to be for
Sounds
educational purposes.
like a Scooby-Doo episode.
That's
I mean,
right.
trying to educate our children, and we just can't do it because they won't
Maybe-
deliver our Chromebooks.
Who knows? Maybe it's like Blue's Clues.
Yep.
And we'll see paw prints on everything. And we're like, it's a clue.
Oh.
But no, I will say, it's like, the way the world is headed, I wouldn't be surprised. You could tell them it's for education. I don't think they'll care.
That's right.
They don't care about education. That's what I'm saying right now about Amazon.
They don't care about education.
They don't care
They
about
can't-
children.
They can't hear you either. It's muted.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, I'm saying it out there for all the other people to
I
echo
understand.
my frustrations.
That's right.
They don't
Yeah.
care about the children. They don't care about education. If they did, they'd send your son, his Chromebook, and the whole class, his
whole
entire
class.
class, a free Chromebook.
Everybody.
That's
Everybody
right.
should get a free Chrome.
They
I know
they will send one.
Amazon isn't. They haven't delivered, but we are going to deliver tonight.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, absolutely.
We're delivering one of
Absolutely.
the best shows we've got all year because we're back. We're refreshed from the lake. Whew, I'm telling you, needed it. A little bit of sun.
That's right.
Sunshine.
I got my forehead is peeling right now. I got some sun.
My stomach was. I got a shower yesterday after I cut the grass.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was washing. It was itching, and I was like, "Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
It happens."
Yeah.
And I get all that dead skin coming off.
Like a lizard.
But I will say it was
Like a
brown,
lizard.
except for all the places where my folds.
The
Yeah.
dead skin was brown?
No. Just my skin.
Oh,
His
okay.
skin was brown.
I was looked very tan. I was happy.
Good, yeah.
Good.
You know, I needed a little tan. But yeah, we got a great show for everybody. We went and saw Twisters.
We did.
That was a huge movie on the block this
It was
past week.
it was massive.
It over
Performed.
impressed.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I mean, we got our own opinions we're going to get to here in just shortly. Got a great set of headlines
Oh, yeah.
talking about the box office and how much it is starting to cook and heat up
Yeah.
halfway through the summer.
That's
and
what happens when you actually deliver some decent movies.
imagine that.
I know. I know.
Later
we-
this week, we're going to be seeing probably one of the biggest movies of the summer.
It probably has the potential to be the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah.
Of the year.
Yeah.
It really is.
It does. Yeah. I agree.
And it's crazy because that used to not be the case. I mean,
It
hit or
did used to
miss.
be the case, and then it didn't, and
Right.
maybe it will be again.
Exactly. When you're talking about Marvel, and let alone
Yeah.
now the first under Disney. Well, no.
No,
Yeah.
most of the Infinity War was under Disney.
No. I was gonna say Deadpool.
Oh, the first
This
Deadpool.
is
I
the
forgot.
first Deadpool
yeah,
that
Disney.
Disney has.
Yeah,
had.
yeah. First
And
Deadpool.
For it to be rated R, which was always in question for those first, after the buyout happened.
Yeah.
And apparently it has been. I've seen Chris Gore from Film Threat. He posted favorably. I won't
Yeah.
say his comments.
It's been getting some good,
but
people have been saying it's.
it's a fun romp.
They say it delivers.
So we've got that review coming, but of course we did go see Twisters this past week
Yeah, we
We
did.
were blown away.
and blown away. Unrealized
Unrealized.
idea. Unrealized. So what did we think of the big movie on the block? Well, let's get into it. Here's our review of Twisters.
In 1996, Jan de Bont delivered the quintessential 90s disaster flick that defined a generation. With Jurassic Park's Michael Crichton as screenwriter and starring Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, Twister was a perfect combination of camp, heart, and the destructive force of nature. And while it may not have been the biggest and most beloved film to come out of the 90s, it still holds firm as one of that decade's gems. And while maybe not the most obvious pick to springboard a franchise from, Hollywood must leave no stone unturned, and Twister's time has come. Directed by Lee Isaac Chung, Twisters is a reboot/standalone sequel to the 90s film, starring Daisy Edgar Jones as Kate Carter, meteorologist and storm chaser, who has come up with an untested theory for how to effectively kill a tornado, depriving it of the moisture needed to form such storms. After a disastrous first test, Kate leaves the world of storm chasing behind, until dragged back in by an old friend, Johnny, played by Anthony Ramos. Upon her return to the field, she crosses paths with Tyler Owens, famous YouTuber and storm wrangler. And after a friction-filled first meeting, the two slowly begin to see eye to eye. While there are plenty of Easter eggs, homages, and nods to the original film, Twisters truly is a standalone sequel, bringing back none of the original cast or characters, with the plot spiritually connected to the first through the idea of new untested tech that could save lives. Twisters stands on its own in every other aspect, full of camp and cheesy one-liners much like its predecessor and ample amounts of spectacle and deadly weather. Chung and his crew clearly recognized a lot of why the original was so beloved, working hard to maintain a similar tone in their sequel. Glenn Powell still proves why his star continues to rise as a leading man, charismatic and charming as ever opposite Jones's Kate, who is smart and capable but filled with doubt. The two share solid chemistry and complement one another well as characters, making them easy to root for. Twisters is a fun romp that has conquered this weekend's box office and brought audiences out in droves. While it has not completely endeared itself to the critics, viewer scores and reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and CinemaScore have been terrific, garnering a 92% and A- score respectively. I can see why critics have been more harsh truthfully, as the film isn't particularly above and beyond what it could have been, and is more or less on par with the original, without much to offer that hasn't been seen before. Kate's theory, while interesting, isn't as believable or factually possible as the original films. Though it's not entirely outside of the realm of possibility, many outlets have already noted that there just would be no way to accomplish such a thing at present. Likewise, the film embraces the camp, laughs, and fun, but struggles in moments of suspense and danger in comparison to the original. And while there are some solid emotional points in the movie, they fell in comparison to the original as well. That said, while Twisters may ask you to suspend its disbelief a little more than it should have, it's above and beyond any modern disaster film I can think of, staying faithful to the spirit of the original while doing its best to stand on its own 2 feet. Twisters deserves all the praise and money it's currently getting from audiences. Devoid of modern messaging, rhetoric, and politics, it's a well-made movie that's simply fun. And the more films like it continue to do well, the more Hollywood may finally get the message that audiences just want to be entertained. I give Twisters 2.5 out of 4 stars.
2.5 out of 4 stars, but there's breaking news.
Oh!
We got
Breaking news.
on the Amazon front.
Oh,
That's right.
They really hate education.
They disconnected. They hung up on Sean. He was on the phone during the review, repeatedly checked in and said, are you still there? Thinking maybe they put him on hold or maybe they put him on mute or, that we couldn't hear them, but they could hear us. No, then they just hung up.
They just disconnected.
Right there.
She did.
At the end of our review.
In broad daylight, she did it.
Broad daylight.
Well, it's probably not daylight where she's from. She was definitely
It's probably
from
morning.
the other side of the world.
I bet it's morning now.
Yeah.
It's like maybe she hadn't had her first cup of coffee, and you're having your last.
I don't know. I tried to be nice. I asked if she listened to podcasts. I was going to let her know
She's
what
on
was
air.
happening. I was going to say, I was literally going to tell her if she said yes, that you're live right now on the Red Moon podcast.
Maybe who knows? Maybe she thought it was a setup.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been investigated before, this particular call center, and
She's like, I gotta
they're
get
on
off this line now.
They're like,
Oh.
oh crap, we're being
For
tapped.
stealing people's information,
I
probably.
bet. And they thought, oh crap, they're trying to catch us
Yeah,
right now.
the
in
only thing
act.
she asked me was my name and the last 4 digits of my social security number. No,
Well,
I'm just kidding.
it-
It's
it
the
was-
last 4 digits of the order number.
To be sure, you got to make sure you give them your account number for your bank account
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's what they really are after. So they
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
they withdrew it from the correct account.
I'll call tomorrow while I'm at work and
I'm still
pitch a fit.
hopeful. Kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that it shows up tonight.
It was a weird thing because I got an email earlier today saying it's going to be there between 3 and 7, which is a pretty wide thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm leaving at 4:30, so if it doesn't show up by then somebody will be home. No password required, no signature required, none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I got an email later saying your package could not be delivered. We tried to leave it at the front door, but we're unable to access the front door. That's bull crap.
Yeah.
I got cameras all over my house. I checked. There was
how
nothing.
do you not access it?
It's not like
literally
there-
it's a
yeah,
front stoop.
there
All they
was
gotta do is
nothing-
put it on
yeah,
there.
it's a front porch.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, I get the notification that it's been delivered. And so my wife is home when it was delivered.
So they should have
she
heard a
says-
knock or something.
She
ringing the
says it's not
doorbell.
on the front porch. It's not by the garage. Sometimes they hide it behind my garbage cans. It just depends on whatever the hell Amazon is feeling that day. And it was nowhere. And they did not take a picture of it like they almost always take a photo
At
of
least
it.
if it's UPS or FedEx.
Yeah.
They almost always drop
Oh, the
it and take a
Amazon delivery driver
Usually does too.
religiously
Or
takes a
actually,
picture.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Even them, because I've actually I was cutting the grass one day when it was delivered, and I went up to the guy as he was walking into my front porch, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take it." And he's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Hold on," and he set it down. He's like,
Set it down,
I got to take a picture."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh,
As
dude,
they
that's
That's
fine."
to cover their butts, and I agree.
They
but
get in trouble if they
there's
don't
no
take a picture.
picture of my front porch, so it's just kind of like if it says delivered, even like all the tracking information says that it was delivered at 6:40 something. It says delivered to a safe place is what it says, and then
Where's that
and-
safe place?
Right,
The
the safe
thief's
place
car.
is in their car. But then it also like already has the option to return the item, which would not be an option yet
If you
until
haven't
it's actually been delivered.
Yeah.
True.
So I have no idea at this
Yeah.
point.
And I mean,
Where
I
the
hear
safe
it's like,
place is.
I'm hoping maybe it's a mishap on their part. They didn't take a picture, but maybe
Yeah.
when you get home tonight, you check over there by the front door. Or
I'll double check. It's like we have delivery instructions on there,
Right.
and it's always the front door because they can push the Ring doorbell, and if there is a password or something we have to give them, we can give it to them through the doorbell, and they'll leave stuff.
Yeah.
We've done that before. But, if it's not at the front door or over by the garage door, I don't know where the heck they would have put it. But I'll be looking when I get home because it's like a $250 Chromebook.
Well, of course.
But,
It is for your son's school.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not like it's just not that it would make it any better, but it's not like, it was a Prime Day Fire, pad.
It
or
was a
whatever.
Prime deal, so it's like if I don't get it and I end up having to get refunded and buy another one, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
Because it was a $400 Chromebook
For sale,
for
yeah.
two, for
Yep.
like $197 or something like that,
Yeah.
plus the warranty.
And who knows? Maybe this is what they're doing across all of Prime Day.
Yeah.
Those big ticket items, they're like, we'll just make sure that they
Yep.
they get delivered. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's like you're still buying it because
That's
you
what
want
I
it.
think they tried to do that with my 3D printer.
Where they tried to rip you off.
Yeah, because it was like $700 something, and then if you bought it early, like if you pre-ordered it, you got it for $300 off, and if you don't pre-order it now if you try to buy it, it's back up to $700 and something.
Yeah.
And so it was like they tried to
The bait and switch.
Yeah, they tried to say, "Oh, it's been lost, and we're gonna have to just refund you." And I was like, "No. I'll just wait and wait for it to come. Otherwise, you all can pay the insurance out because it's insured. So it's one of those things where if you lost the package, then you're gonna pay me what I paid back, at least what I
paid into it.
Right? Yeah, but it was like
But you wouldn't be able to get
they
it
were
for
wanting.
that price again.
Yeah, I think
That's
they were
what-
wanting to refund it, and then I'd have to reorder it at the full price.
Right.
Because that's what they told me. They were, it's always like, well, you can just replace the order. We're going to refund you. And it's like, yeah, if I do that, then I got to pay $300 more.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to give it to me for that price again. And
Right.
they said, no, they can't. So
We're going to be talking about this later on
sucks,
in our
man.
relationship segment because it's a headache. And we're talking about our relationship with Big Corp, big business.
big business.
That's right. And how they screw you over. And then you got to call customer service in another country somewhere where
Tell
they,
them to
they don't
bite
speak
you.
English.
That's right.
That's right.
That's it. I think every time I think of any kind of a customer service issue like this, I immediately go back to Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 3,
Yeah.
where he's going on about the drive-through. He's
Yeah.
like, they freak you at the drive-through.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like throwing it's like
Yes.
8 F words in one sentence when he
Yes.
says it, but he says they
But
screw you at the
it's-
drive-through, man.
It's raw, authentic, and it's
Yes,
Joe Pesci.
that's right. It's Joe
I mean, he's
Pesci.
speaking for everybody.
Yes.
He's an everyman.
Yes.
I love it.
But no,
Love
we
it.
did have we saw our review there from Twisters.
Yes.
2.5 out of 4 stars.
I concur.
So let's talk about it a little bit because
Let's do that.
this kind of falls in that, I think, that gray area of movies that we're going to probably end up more positively liking.
We liked it. I'd
but
watch
we
it
didn't
again.
rate it as high.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a 2.5. It's that.
Right.
It's over the hill.
It's like I liked
there
it
you go.
enough.
It's over the hill.
I definitely will watch it again. So it's not like I just think it had some issues that I couldn't give it more of a star rating for. I mean, I really liked like the story, the characters. To me, it wasn't anything overtly new or different. I mean, even the story itself is similar to the original in that
Very,
the original
yeah.
they're trying to get data on the tornadoes by sending, the Dorothy units up with the little machine, like balls
sensors.
inside. The
Hundreds of
sensors.
these little
Yeah.
sensors.
Yeah.
That's it.
In this one, they're trying to actually figure out how they can kill a tornado, stop it while it's
Yeah.
forming by sucking out the moisture. And it's funny. And while I was fine with that, the first movie, while the technology didn't exist at the time, was technology that was possible, and it exists now. This movie, they're saying it's not that. In theory, that could work, but they would need way more
Yeah.
chemicals than it is plausible to really be like affordable or doable. Like they said,
And-
you couldn't just load up those barrels on the back of a
Yeah.
trailer and that be enough.
And the chemicals required would also be harmful for the
yeah,
environment.
so they said there's like nothing.
we
like-
don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's not necessary.
But there's like, in theory, it would work. They're just saying it is in no way
Yeah.
probable at this time.
like electric
and
cars.
They don't think in the foreseeable
idea,
future.
Well, but
Yeah.
if y'all think about it, I mean, because it was just recent we had that story, and I'm forgetting the foreign country, and I think it was somewhere in Europe, No. It was in the Middle East. It was in Saudi Arabia, I believe.
Well, everything's there.
Well, remember, it was maybe like a month, 2 months ago. They were having serious problems with droughts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they sent up chemicals
The
to
cloud
change
seeded. Yeah.
the
Silver-
cloud seeding.
yeah.
and it
Now
made
that is
massive.
factual.
It had massive flooding
Yeah.
and caused huge amounts of damage
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it brought in so much rain.
Yeah.
More than they could handle.
More than they could handle or prepared for because
Yeah.
they're not used to
well,
that
the
kind of
ground is
rainfall.
dry, and so water doesn't soak in and absorb to the ground. It just runs across the top.
Yeah.
If it's
It's
really
so
dry.
cracked and dry,
so
yeah.
when you get a bunch of rain at once on solid dry ground, it
massive
just
flooding.
floods. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that we have seen in real world scenarios
Yeah.
manipulation of climate.
They
Yeah.
did it in
And-
Vietnam too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know how to make it rain. That's not the problem.
No, they can make it
Yeah,
rain.
yeah.
Make
buddy.
it rain.
Make it
That's what they
rain.
It's like,
want.
that's not their
the kind of
problem. They're
rain.
just
Yeah.
saying in order to absorb all that moisture,
Yeah.
that's something they're not capable of doing
I liked
yet.
the story in the first movie better because I agreed with the story. I agreed with here's what the we're gonna try to give people more of a warning. That's all they were
Plenty
trying to
of
do.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying to give them at least 15 minutes from 3 minutes
Yeah.
of a warning time so they can get to their basement or get to a neighbor's house that
Get
has
somewhere
one.
safe, yeah.
Somewhere safe. That's right. I agree with that. In this one, they're just trying to play God. And that was one of the aspects of the story that I did not like because I don't like the weather manipulation. I don't like cloud seeding and all of that I kind of feel like exactly what happened in Saudi Arabia when we try to do what God does on his own, we usually end up failing and making it a disaster. And I think I don't agree with global warming at all, but I think it's one of those things where even those people would say, well, the reason Katrina was as bad as it was is because of man-made pollution and global warming and all of that. They still say
Yeah.
that today, that's the reason Katrina was so bad. It was just off the charts bad in terms of a hurricane. And I kind of feel like when we start manipulating crap with tornadoes, if we were ever able to do that, we're just going to end up creating an F8 tornado instead of an F5 that we're trying to get rid of. It's like, when are we going to learn to it's nature, just let it do its thing. And
if anything, I wish they would have, because here's the one thing that I liked that I've heard from the director beforehand, before seeing the movie, and a little bit of press came out where they were actually, huge, media corporations that were publishing these articles, but they were directly asking, well, why didn't you make climate change a pivotal point or message in this film? And I like the fact that the guy just simply said, he's like, I don't think movies should preach to you. It's just entertainment. And for one, that made me feel better going into the movie because I was expecting
a message.
a message
Yeah.
about, a movie about tornadoes, a message 20 years later from the original that doesn't have anything like that. And so I'm glad the director at least was a stalwart when it came to saying, no, we're not doing that here.
Yeah.
But also, when it comes to something like that, I think it would have probably been, I don't know how they would have crammed it into this movie because oddly enough, the movie was 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it
Didn't
went
feel like
by
it.
really
Yeah, it didn't
quick.
feel like it.
It didn't feel long at all.
No, it just blew by like a twister. Gosh.
Blew through like a tornado in a trailer park. I'm just telling you.
Right.
Here and
Yeah.
gone.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But no, I thought overall it could have used a little bit more of that element of maybe like, almost nature versus, mankind.
Well, it's even the
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, it's like Keith quotes it best.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, it's
Yeah, you're too busy trying to figure out whether or not you should that you didn't stop to think whether or not you could.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was hoping maybe they would get to that
Yes.
where it's just like, okay, we've tried to do this, but why?
Yeah,
Why don't we just
and
let
that's where
Tornado
the-
Alley be Tornado
the
Alley?
weird part
Yeah.
of the story was that I thought they were never going to get to that science aspect. They catered more towards there was still the intention of helping people,
Yeah.
but it catered more towards the idea of like corporatist versus your
Pseudo.
Wh-
I felt like
yeah.
it was pseudoscience versus corporate. Yeah.
Well, but they were using it to go in to basically find out how the damage that these tornadoes would cause.
Yeah.
Then buy up the land so they
Yeah.
could sell it. So
Yes,
they basically
that-
come
that's-
in.
She
That part
wanted
of it, yeah.
to stop tornadoes to save people, whereas this guy was just after the huge disasters, he was like, okay, I'll pay for all your damaged houses so I can have the land.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind that the one, and I don't want to give too much away or spoil anything. the friend that she has that kind of lands on the wrong side of the tracks. I didn't mind the pivot of him kind of coming to, and at first he's just chasing the fact that he wants to succeed, and it is just kind of a business venture.
Yeah.
And he's again, this was something he was always excited about.
Well, I think they're paying for his research.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'll sleep with the enemy if they're gonna.
But that's the thing. I like that
buy me
they
a
kept
steak.
it to where he didn't really know. He didn't know what was going on, but he didn't care to know.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
kind of knew that there may be something fishy going on behind the scenes, but he was like,
As long as he was being funded.
right.
Yeah.
And so I didn't mind that because I think that's a real human, nature conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I wish we would have seen him wrestle with it a little bit more to bring more depth to his character. But even the characters they do introduce in this one, it's weird because it's not that I felt like they were bad. I enjoyed them all, but I felt, even with it being just like Joe, Bill, and Dusty from the first movie, I felt more endearing.
All the characters had a personality that you could,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though they didn't all have depth. Like I feel like
Even the simple conversation in the opening shot when you have what's his name from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? I'm forgetting his name.
I can't think of his name either.
Yeah.
But his name is Rabbit in the movie.
In the movie.
Yeah.
He's the
in
map
Ferris-
guy, the
and he's just
navigation
like,
guy.
I told you, there's a big crease through Wichita.
Yes.
Roll the maps.
Yes.
Like there's just this, like the idea that each one of them have a job.
Yeah.
One is a perfectionist. The other one's like his son. That's a tag along.
they all feel like real people, whereas I felt like in this movie, it's not that I didn't like the characters, but they all felt like they were fitting like certain stereotypes, or like they were meant to. It's like these characters are here to remind you of the characters from the first
Yes.
movie,
They're-
and that's it. They don't really feel like
They just tagged along.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't feel like they had an actual job, like you said.
Agreed.
The
other than the
yeah.
one with the drone. Like she was the only one that ever really did anything.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. But even then, I would agree
But I
with
mean,
Sean.
her character was dull still. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
It didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
You just didn't feel.
Well, her drone didn't serve any purpose. Like other than showing her flying it around, it never does anything
Yeah.
until it gets wrecked.
And that's I mean, trying to kill a tornado is unrealistic enough, but it's like I have a drone that in 15-mile-an-hour wind, it's useless. Yeah. And
Well, I
we're
mean,
talking about flying it near tornadoes.
Apparently, that
Like,
was actually one part of the movie, though. They said this is 100% real.
They do have like weather.
They have
drones.
those weather drones.
I understand. I could believe they have weather drones, but not that fly within a football field's distance of a tornado.
Apparently, they do. They go through them. I just read this.
What?
I swear,
Wow.
just before.
So the drone can go through a tornado,
I don't know
but
if they
nothing
can
else can?
go through it, but I know that they can get that close to it. They said that was one part that seemed far-fetched in the movie.
Yeah,
but
very.
it was I forget. It was some meteorologists who were like, "No, we actually have that technology. Yes, that's realistic. That they can
I'm gonna
fly
look that up.
close into the tornado."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and that's
That's pretty
kinda,
close in the movie. Like,
But it's weird because
there's
those,
debris flying around, but the drone doesn't get hit by any of that debris.
Well, and I think that's a very real possibility or risk that
Yeah.
they take on when they fly it in those circumstances. But I will say, even then, the idea of that seemed more far-fetched in the movie because it wasn't supported by what I think they could have done. Like, to me, the best parts of the movie where they dove in, they have like one brief little montage of where they're talking about how a tornado actually develops.
Yeah.
And they show the clouds forming. And I thought, oh,
That's cool.
That was
Yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah.
I actually
Time
wanted to
lapse.
see more of that and even a little bit more of the science or science fiction behind what the movie was representing, more so than the disaster flick. Because that was the other problem, too, that I felt like this was a little bit weaker than the first movie. In the first movie, it was already a little bit ridiculous that they're literally jumping from tornado to tornado throughout
Yeah.
this, like,
yeah.
2-hour span.
Yeah.
But you realize, oh, it's a once-in-a-generation event,
Yeah. Yeah,
which they echo in this movie, too. And they're in Tornado Alley, so it's really not that, it's not that ridiculous if you think
Yeah.
about it. But ultimately, it was each tornado in that movie felt significantly different and had
Bigger.
have a different twist.
They
and
get bigger
They were
in the
building
first
towards
movie, yeah.
the F5.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it was like there were cool parts of each twister or tornado.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any one that felt significantly worse than the other or even more different in terms
Yeah.
of the damage or the stakes that were involved.
Yeah.
And that was where I wish they would have been a little bit more creative with the set pieces that just didn't have the sell or the payoff.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much, even though there are people that are, like, spoiler alert, I'm not going to say who, but there are characters that are killed by the tornado. I feel like all the events in the first movie are either fright, and I think the opening is as goofy as it is, still scared me as a kid compared to the opening of this one. And then every time they did come across a tornado, it did feel like this threat and that they could lose their life at any moment. There was never a moment in this movie where I was afraid for any of the characters. I mean, other than the ones that did, like they did, but I was just kind of surprised, like, oh, they are going to kill someone. Like I wasn't like concerned about it until it happened, and it was like, oh, and then even then, because not all the characters you're really endeared to, I didn't really care. Like it sets up the story somewhat, but I was just like, I just never felt like these people were in danger the way they should have been, like trying to drive through tornadoes and do what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I echo that, but at the same time, I thought in this movie, I felt more like I could see a character and know that they're gonna get they're gonna get twisted.
Yeah, that's
they're
true
gonna
too.
get killed by tornadoes.
There's no suspense either.
Yeah.
You don't feel afraid for them when you could just tell. Yeah, that person's gone.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the movie so closely resembles the original that it's like we all know. There's no spoiler. The movie came back in the 90s. If you haven't seen it, that's your loss. But it's like in that movie, the corporate kiss butts obviously get sucked up by the tornado at one point and die. And it's like you think that's gonna happen, but then it happens in another spot.
Yeah,
It's like
or certain ones don't. And I didn't mind that because there was a difference between those who were again there to do a job and then those who were doing it for themselves. I mean, and like you said, they clearly played along. I thought they were good nods to the original. There's a couple few Easter eggs and even lines that are definitely taken from the first one.
They have plenty of homages, but that's about it.
But I did like the fact that I didn't think the cast of characters was a carbon copy.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just take the two main characters that the story does really focus on, which is Glenn Powell's character and Daisy, I'm forgetting her whole name.
Edgar Jones. Yeah,
Edgar
Daisy
Jones.
Edgar Jones.
But the fact that those two are your central focus throughout the whole movie. And you have Anthony Ramos over here who comes in and he's the buddy to Daisy's character. But overall, between those three, I still felt like there just wasn't enough there. I mean, enough to springboard me into interest, almost in the funny part that we encountered at the theater we went and saw it at, where it's like into the movie comes like,
they were
spoiler,
into it. Yeah, they were
minor
into
spoiler alert, but it was like, looks like there's going to be a part 2.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be a part 2.
There's going to be part 2.
There's going to be a part 2.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But I will say, I mean, as far as the leads go, like, I mean, Glenn Powell, we've already praised in other movies. He definitely proves that, why he's a leading man. I mean, he has charisma. Him and her played well off each other. I like that. And even Anthony Ramos, I thought he wasn't anything stand out like spectacular, but he was much better in this movie than he was in Transformers. Like I was like, oh, he can deliver. Like, I mean, it's not anything special, but he's not as, like, if you give him, I guess, decent direction, he's fine.
Also, I want to say screw Spielberg.
Yeah.
He is the reason you don't have a kissing scene. I mean, how
they didn't
far
want to be
gone?
cliche, and I'm like, that's the payoff.
Yeah.
You can be cliche at that moment.
Yes. Especially with everything they had already been through and how they ended that
definitely
moment.
A romance brewing throughout that film, and it's like to just deny that at the end was just stupid.
And I think this is why it's being eaten up. And we're gonna kind of dive into this, I guess, talking about its success and obviously, like we said, the box office heating up. So you know what? Yeah, let's just go ahead.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into the headlines. Let's just roll that open. That's right. We're talking about the box office heating up.
It is.
I'm telling you.
Getting hotter.
It's getting hot.
And hot. It's like global warming, causing twisters and heating up the box office.
That's what it is. That's it. But
there it is.
It's very interesting that just 2 months ago we were talking about how dismal the summer was going to be.
Yeah. I
mean, and I'll be honest with you, even with the potential of Deadpool at the time being the biggest movie of the summer, I don't think anybody saw Twisters hitting this big.
Nope.
Even though you could have potentially said
there were some,
but there was no guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Long Legs was definitely nowhere on anybody's radar. You got a few others.
I was going to say I would even add, and I know a lot of people would call me crazy, Inside Out 2.
Yes.
It's a sequel to a popular movie, and yes, I thought it would do well, but the fact that it is now, I think, Pixar's highest grossing Like, or is it projected to be on track to become?
No, I think it has.
Pixar's
I think it already,
highest-grossing film.
I think it peaked at
Yeah.
its highest-grossing film.
It's.
of all
I think a
time.
lot of people didn't expect that to do as well as it did, and again, it's because it was a good movie. People, I think, were thinking Disney was going to phone it in again, and I mean, I haven't seen it, but I know you've have,
seen
and
it,
you've said
haven't
that it's actually decent.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I went with my family about a week ago. I'll give a little 2-cent informal review. Heard obviously through the grapevine, we've all been skeptical on this show of Pixar and Disney for quite some time, and rightfully so. We will still hold their feet to the fire because one good romp or one good dip back into what you're familiar with regard to Disney and Pixar is not enough to sell me on everything coming out.
Yeah.
Still skeptical, but hearing from others that it was a good, wholesome movie, that it actually did the original justice. I still think the original Inside Out, I still prefer it more.
That's what I've heard overall.
It just touches on so many more cross-generational references as far as, whether you're a kid growing up and going through mixed emotions. I think this one, especially since they already had Turning Red, being about, I guess, puberty.
Yeah.
This one does a good job of going more so not puberty, but the tween.
Yeah.
It's
It's
in
got
between
the
your
emotional puberty almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And granted, that's exactly what it's about. I
Yeah.
mean, it's about your emotions. And so having their misstep with Soul, which I thought could have easily been a great follow-up, but also a deeper, meaningful follow-up to something like Inside Out, whereas you're dealing with human nature emotions versus a soul of a person and the ethereal and eternal nature of a soul, which they, of course, I think butchered and botched. I just don't think it went deep enough. It's like, why even approach that subject? So with Inside Out 2 and, of course, all the wokeness since then that they've been embroiled in, I was very skeptical. But I was very, very well pleased. Does not touch on anything woke. You could argue there's some woke things in terms of the character designs of some of the girls that are in the film, because it does revolve around Riley and her being on a hockey team.
I know all her friends are a very diverse cast of characters.
But it doesn't. But thankfully, again, this is the beauty of diversity. Is looks do not match personality wholeheartedly. The idea that you can be of a certain race or ethnicity, and yet that does not define who you are,
Right. Yeah.
That's the purpose. And to me, that is well done diversity. Is when you have difference of skin color and ethnicity, but it has nothing to do with just who you are personally.
Yeah.
And thankfully, they don't cater to that. They don't even bring it up. It's just part of her interacting with other kids. And to me, that is a wholesome way to bring about and showcasing to children, hey, look, you have other people in this world that are different from you, that look different from you, but look, they're all interested in hockey.
We all
It
go
has
through
the-
the same, emotions, the same problems, same, it's like...
Exactly. So, I mean, overall, I was very well pleased. I think it is definitely a good follow-up, way better than some of their other sequels, like...
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story, well, hey, they got 3 good ones.
They got 3 good ones,
So
yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines of like Finding Dory and Incredibles 2. To me, both
Even
of,
those are...
and even Cars 2, for instance.
No, Cars 2 is terrible. I would say Incredibles 2 and Finding Dory, while not great, are better than some of their other sequels, like Cars 2.
And so I will at least say that for this to be a sequel and a follow-up, it complements the first one really well.
Good.
Doesn't outdo it, but it's definitely a wholesome movie, and I would thoroughly enjoy watching it again.
That's the consensus I've seen to have heard and seen online a lot, is that it is really good, not better than the first, but still good. And I'm like, I'm fine with that.
I believe we either gave it 3.5 or 4 stars.
The first one, I want to say I gave it 4. The
we
first
might
one.
have, but
that's
I
I think my
would definitely put it
favorite
in the-
Pixar movie. I think is Inside Out 1. That or Up. I don't know.
Yeah,
Finding Nemo. Those 3 to me are like the trifecta. Finding Nemo, Up, and
See,
Inside
but then
Out.
I throw in either altogether the Toy Stories or at least Toy Story 3. That ending of
That's
Toy Story
good,
3
yeah.
is
They
so
are
freaking
good.
good.
They are good. But I still like those 3 better than the Toy Story movies.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I love Toy Story, but
I mean, I'm biased because
know.
I picked Toy Story like 2 weeks ago
I know.
for my.
It's fine. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
but I will say, Finding Nemo,
definitely top 5 is Toy Story 3 thrown in there.
I mean,
So-
if you're talking first 5 minutes of any Pixar movie, both Finding Nemo and even Up are just gosh sakes.
Up gets me every time I see them at the
Insane.
doctor's
Up
office.
is one of the ones that I think, the beginning of it is just amazing, but then the rest of the movie doesn't follow.
To me,
and
until
that's-
the end.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the beginning and the
In
end,
the end,
Yeah.
yeah.
that are phenomenal. The middle is just kind of your happy-go-lucky
Yeah.
adventure. I don't know. We're
Yeah.
diving into...
The
I'm
golden
on the
days
list
of
here, though, I'm
Pixar.
surprised that Bad Boys Ride or Die is number 3.
So for at the domestic,
Like-
worldwide, it's not.
I'm just like, that's crazy.
So that just means us Americans really like Will Smith for
Yeah.
some reason. But I think
I don't know what
that,
you're talking
that,
about.
that movie is on the it's on the website that we get our screeners delivered through, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And nobody even wants to get the screener of that.
worldwide, Despicable Me 4 is the worldwide. It's Inside Out 2, Dune 2, and then Despicable Me 4 are the top 3 worldwide.
Okay.
Because I remember
Well,
there
and
was
I'll
a
be honest. I mean, even Despicable Me 4.
Yeah.
Knowing it was the 4th entry, I knew it would do well. But like you said, I think the real out of the ballpark was Inside Out 2. Did not expect it to do that well, especially with Disney's
Like I
track
didn't think it was
record.
going to flop being a Inside Out 2,
No.
but I mean I didn't think it was going to break $1 billion.
I didn't either. And especially after the years they've had. And then with Despicable Me 4 following closely behind that, I'm shocked that, I mean, again, knowing it's an animated film, but it's the 4th entry.
Yeah.
You think, I mean,
Yeah.
we just saw Kung Fu Panda 3.
4.
Four.
Yeah, and it
4.
was not that great.
No.
And it also, I don't think, did super well at the box office, to my knowledge. I don't know if it's on
It's
here.
not. It is. It's number 5 worldwide, so that's not terrible. But I mean, then again, it's only had 545
That's
million. So, because Godzilla Kong is number 4 with 567 million. So, it's sad that the top, like, used to your top 5 would all be close to $1 billion, and right now Dune and Inside Out are Dune got 700, and then Inside Out actually did break $1 billion. So it's kind of funny how even we're talking about how great this year is doing now, but it still pales in comparison to before Hollywood went crazy.
Yeah.
So
but it is insane because, I mean, like I said, not but 2 months ago were we looking at the dismal performances of, you're talking...
everybody expected it to be a dead year.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I would say after the first few turnouts of the season, which started kicking it off was The Fall Guy.
Yeah, it didn't do
And
well.
literally a week after it comes out, they're already talking about releasing it on streaming,
Yep.
and there it was.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is
And then
it
Furiosa
actually...
didn't
It
do
did
well
good.
either.
Yeah.
Furiosa was another huge one, that and it's not even in the top 10 of the year.
And not worldwide or domestic. Furiosa isn't. It's terrible. I think
yeah.
Fall Guy actually did better both domestically and worldwide than
It did.
Furiosa did.
Domestically, it actually fell. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, crap. Nope, I'm not, because it just changed on me. I'm looking at it fell at number 7 domestically, which is pretty incredible considering its short run and how considered, or how much of a bomb it was, which granted it is when you think about the production budget, because it was upwards of, I think, 180 million
Yeah, it
to
was up
produce,
there.
and it only made 92.
92.
Yeah.
So it didn't. Now, granted, obviously we'd have to go in and look at like digital sales after the fact, because I'm sure that's kind of how they pick up the crumbs. But they want to see that theatrical box office really be, the majority of their raking in, because then they can consider it a success, tout that, and get more people into, butts in the seats. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Bad Boys was a surprise. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of sandwiched in there between The Fall Guy and Furiosa, and I was shocked because I didn't expect it to be the start of a new or the start of this continuing franchise, but like a new trilogy to do really well. But it stayed at the top for quite a while.
Yeah.
So this is actually the link you have is actually just for summer 2024.
Yes.
Not the whole year. Bad Boys isn't the top 3 domestically either. For the whole year, it's Inside Out, Dune, and Despicable Me 4 domestically as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is just for the summer.
just summer. Yeah.
But it's just crazy because I think, I mean, we have to eat our own words, because we were talking about how dismal. I think after the terrible turnouts of Fall Guy and Furiosa, we were thinking, well, Deadpool's it. And we were leaving in there, the dance was Inside Out too. But since then, we've had several. I mean, even If garnered quite a bit.
If is in the top 10. Surprisingly to me, A Quiet Place has done well. I wasn't expecting much out of that.
And reviewed
yeah.
real well.
Yeah. And I mean, even Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is done fairly well for itself as far as the top 10 goes. So
Yeah. It's
And
like
you-
170 million or something.
yeah.
And you got to think too, within all of this is, the long shots like long legs.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
fact that was completely out of nowhere, a huge, indie hit, making all their money back within, the very first weekend it released. But very much I'm just now seeing Horizon, an American Saga.
Oh, it's like for overall, it's way down there. I think for the summer, it's
already streaming, too.
Like 13. Yeah,
Really? Where did it release at? Is it just on like Vudu?
you can
or
rent or buy it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Apple
already.
TV?
Yeah.
They've already released it for. I mean, it's still in theaters because I think they're trying to gain as much audience as possible to keep it alive.
Yeah.
So you could still go see it in theaters if you want, but it is streaming now, like for VOD.
Damn,
So
man,
it's crazy. Yeah.
actually, what? Hold on, I was looking at Godzilla. That had to have made.
Godzilla Kong.
Yeah.
It for the year it's in fourth. It's just
Okay.
not. It's not a summer release, so it's not in the summer list.
Ah, I gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
if you go to
and that's why
yearly-
it's so low on the summer list. Okay.
Yeah, for the entire year domestically, it is in fourth place. Godzilla versus Kong,
But
or
I-
Godzilla X Kong.
Definitely, no doubt. I think this year is on track because you still got Deadpool versus Wolverine,
That one will be huge.
which potentially could be even bigger than Inside Out. I don't think it will be.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll be as big as Inside Out. I definitely see it being in the top 3.
Well, and can we look this up real quick too? Because I'm actually really not sure. Did Deadpool 1 and 2 both break $1 billion?
I don't think either of those did.
I want to say they got into like $700-800 million range because I know they both beat. They became the highest grossing rated R movie.
Yes,
beating out Passion of the Christ from back in like
Deadpool 1.
Cool. Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's 782
Yeah,
million.
I looked up the wrong Deadpool. So.
Well, dude, which one did you look up though? Too.
It was. I was wondering. It was called The Deadpool, and I just clicked on it real quick. It was a
Oh.
1988 film. Like not even.
Okay.
I don't even know what it was, because it was like $7 million, and I was like,
There's
Deadpool
no
did way
way.
better
So
than.
yeah,
Yeah.
Deadpool 1 was 782 million. Deadpool 2 was 785 million. So they
Right
were
on
both.
par,
yeah, they
yeah.
were both right
Dang.
there. So and I this one's definitely going to do just as much or better. It's gonna crack 800 million. I think.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see this potentially becoming $1 billion film. I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
Just
Well, it's rated
because-
R still,
right.
so that does limit. You know, it's,
But there's just so much intrigue.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are combining both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh
Yep.
Jackman.
Yeah. Long time coming.
that
yeah.
would
Yeah.
put it on par with Dune 2, which has cracked 780 around million, I think, or it might be 750. Either way, it'll put it around or over Dune 2, so it'll at least land in second place for the year so far, I would think.
Yeah.
And I want to say that is that really our last huge blockbuster of the summer? I mean,
Dune, or are you talking about
For-
Deadpool,
for
Wolverine?
Deadpool, yeah.
yeah.
I want to say there was supposed to be something else, but I don't think anything is going to be as big as that.
That's the only Marvel
Horizon
movie
2's
this
been
year.
pushed out, so that's not going to be a
Yeah.
blockbuster. Well, it wasn't going to be a blockbuster anyway, but
Yeah.
and I wouldn't really call Alien a blockbuster. It's getting good buzz like Twisters is, as far as it's back to that like the quality of the originals, but we'll see.
We do have Trap
Oh
from
yeah,
Mr. M.
Yeah.
Night Shyamalan. We've
that's
also,
not going to be a massive blockbuster
No.
though.
It Ends With Us, starring Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively.
Oh, that one.
Hey, you never know.
It's not
Shit,
going to.
it may be a chick flick that breaks, notebook numbers.
I'm not saying it won't do well. It's not going to get close to $1 billion though.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just talking about trajectory of the
Yeah.
rest of the year.
That one probably will. I
Successful
could see that
movies.
one doing. I could see a lot of women wanting to go see that. Not Barbie numbers, but I could see women wanting to go see that one.
I could see it. Honestly, I don't know how much it costs. I could see it breaking 100. If it broke $100 million, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it would do. That
That'd
would
be
be
good.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
And I could just. I don't know. I'm being real generous there. Borderlands. We've still got that coming.
That's
out.
gonna flop.
That's gonna.
Yep.
It's already like people are already saying
Trashing
that it's
it.
terrible.
It's
yeah.
funny because there's movies like Twister, Deadpool, and like even the Alien I mentioned, where like pre-screenings are saying really positive things,
Yeah.
and then everything I've heard about Borderlands has been it's awful.
It's so bizarre too because I think I told you all this, but when I went to see, and I just looked it up, Borderlands is PG-13. When I went to see Inside Out 2 with my family,
They had the trailer
They had
for
a
it, yeah.
trailer for Borderlands. I'm like, this is not a kids movie.
No.
Like,
Yeah, I don't.
I
No,
don't
it's not
know
gonna
why
be.
they're advertising it during.
Yeah.
And of course, everything they showed was like with the stupid robot
Yes,
running
Jack
around.
Black.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I don't know why they're aiming this at family film.
I
Like,
think
don't know.
the issue
yeah.
that movie is going to have, and the reason that it's going to flop hard, is because there's two reasons. One, it's a cult game. Like, it's not a game that everybody has played. It's not Call of Duty. It's not.
It's popular, but it's
popular,
not, yeah.
but it's one of those niche kind of games. It always has been. So you're only gonna. I don't think the average moviegoer has any clue about that game.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have the fans of the game, and I don't think the movie is going to fit the story or the feel or even. I don't even think they nailed the look as much as they were trying. I think they overdid it.
I don't think it looks good, and the casting doesn't match.
I would have much rather the movie have been an animated film in the art style of the game.
Yeah, the cell shading.
The cell shaded and with voice acting.
I think
that would have been way better.
Especially with AI or with the technology we have nowadays. You look at something like a Scanner Darkly back in the early 2000s. I'm like, you could have had better actors, but live action with some kind of cell shaded like look.
Oh yeah, go Scanner Darkly, but better.
Yeah.
But better and more akin to the games, and you would have, I think, made even like the Sin City aesthetic. Like you would have had an aesthetic that would have made it unique and worth telling the story. But I think you're right. I think it's not that it's a poorly sold game. It does really well, but it does have a fan base.
Yes. Yeah.
And its fan base is, I think, the one that would be. I mean, it's kind of like the Warcraft movie.
Yeah.
Warcraft is huge.
Yeah.
But it's such
Everybody
a niche
hated that movie.
market.
It's not a bad movie
and
either.
nobody went and saw
But
it.
yeah, nobody went and saw it.
It just nobody
Warcraft,
supported it.
People didn't go see it.
Yeah.
Well, and there's just certain.
Well, it's like the Halo series. It's
Yes.
like when you have a fan base that's
That's
that
canceled.
by
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And when a fan base is that dedicated to the series, like they knew every aspect inside out of Halo story, the lore, and the series had nothing to do
No.
with any of that lore.
You have to get
Fans
it right,
hated it.
or people are going to.
Borderlands
hate it.
is similar. It has a lot of lore that the fans know. They know the lore and the characters, and the movie doesn't look anything like the characters or that lore.
Nope.
And fans aren't going to eat it. They're just going to be like, no, we don't want it.
I don't know what you're talking about because the Acolyte's great.
Yeah, yeah. Again, same thing.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans, like it's like, and people like want to get mad and be like, "Well, the fans are just ridiculous." Like, well, you wouldn't have a franchise without the fans.
In that
so.
sense, I haven't watched even 1 second of that show, but from what I've heard about it, it's not even a matter of it getting the lore wrong as much as it is it's rewriting the lore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's just
It
completely
completely bastardizes
erasing everything.
And,
yeah.
and I think that's the other problem is you get these people who just are disingenuous about the project in and of itself. And look, when it comes to actors on a press junket, I'm not going to criticize them as much if they don't know all the particulars.
Yeah.
Fine. I think a good actor or anybody who's
Does their
worked
research,
they'll do
yeah.
their research enough to at least know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the creator, the director,
Writers.
the writers, that's where the onus falls on their shoulders. And when they just completely either abandon or ignore the fan base or the actual work itself, then what's the point in doing it?
This didn't even abandon the fan base. It's making fun of and mocking the fan base.
True. Yeah.
Like, I mean, these people, the writers, the directors, and even the actress, the main character that she plays two people in the show, I think. She plays twins.
You're still talking about
Acolyte.
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
they like
Openly
make
Yeah.
fun of the nerds and the Star Wars fans and all that
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
No doubt.
So it's like you're making fun of the hand that feeds
Well,
you.
it's
like-
and they didn't openly make fun of fans, but it reminds me of like The Witcher, where the writers and the creators were like, "Oh yeah, we don't even like the books." It's like, then why are you making this show?
That's
it's like if you don't,
yes.
like, we didn't
Yeah.
read that. We thought that it's not good.
well, we didn't like
better.
it, so we thought we could make it better.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that, and then there's the hubris of, well, we're a different medium. This is a video game, or this is a book. Like, we're of a higher relevance in terms of cultural standing, and we know best.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're not going to take the time, I mean, that's where I appreciate someone like a Henry Cavill who says, I know this material. I'm signing on because I love the material. And now if you screw up, it's in my contract that I can back out if I think you all are you're bastardizing this.
Yeah.
And so many times have we seen now in the industry. I mean, this used to be a trope that we mocked Hollywood for back in the 90s when you would get your Mortal Kombats or your Street Fighters. And it's like, yeah,
Hey,
I loved
both
it
of
as
those
a
are great
kid.
movies.
Yeah.
Or your Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
It's like there's definitely these instances where it was like, okay, this is a cash grab. You're clearly just going off the IP.
Yeah.
At least back then they had fun with it, knowing that it was just kind of this is for the kids or some kind of group. Whereas in this day and age, I'm like, the idea was that you truly did have a heightening of the circumstances of, okay, we're not going to go that cheap now of just kind of slapping the fan base, and we are going to be a little bit more sophisticated in how we approach this. But no, we've turned right back around into, oh, we're Hollywood, and if we just throw this out there and it's live action this for the fans, they'll eat it up.
It's like live action Lion King's great. Everybody's gonna love it.
Right. Live action CGI.
Yeah.
It's live action.
Yeah.
It's live. They went and they filmed those lions in Africa. They did.
Yeah.
They talked and everything.
I don't
It's
even
amazing.
think the dirt is real. It's all fake.
whole
Not
thing
an
is-
the whole
instant,
thing's
not
fake.
a single frame of that
Yeah.
movie
Is
is real. Yeah.
None of it. But no, I think it's good to see the summer box office, especially with the movies that I think we've seen that we have. Because it's been a mixed bag.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had those that we really enjoyed that didn't do great, like Fall Guy. Then you have others that didn't do well or that have done amazing and that we did love, like Long Legs.
Yeah.
And even Twisters, I think we would rate as it's a great popcorn flick.
I'm glad it's
Definitely-
doing well. Yeah.
Same. I'm happy to see. If there's anything I will toot its horn over, it's the fact that it is something that doesn't push a woke agenda. It is not a movie that you could that's so whole completely relies on the original. It is enough of its own original making. And again, it's just a fun romp that I think it needs to be supported for that reason alone. You will be entertained. It's not mind-blowing. It's not the most amazing movie we've ever seen, but it's definitely worth your money, and it's worth a trip to the theater. Go support it.
See, I'd like to see the movies that are there that, not like just the ones that are just thrown out for a paycheck, but the ones that are actually made to entertain without any browbeating or trying to force something down your throat. I like to see those succeed, even if they aren't stellar. As long as they actually are well made, and you can see the attempt of actually trying to entertain people. I'm not talking about something like ISS, which was just garbage. It's something actually well done. But yeah, I want to see those movies succeed so that Hollywood learns. It's when we make more movies like Dune, Inside Out, Twisters, Long Legs, when we make these movies that are focused on telling a story that entertains and people are invested, we do well. When we make woke garbage, we do poorly. And maybe they'll learn a lesson at one point.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Moving on to another headline. This is actually potentially some big news
Boy.
for the city of Louisville.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm
This is-
interested.
A little bit shocking.
Yeah.
Courier Journal is in the. It'll
I'm
be
shocked
in the.
that you linked to the Courier Journal.
I did because it's our local. It's our local newspaper.
Let them have a little,
Yeah. I mean, it's like if we're touting something from Louisville, I figured we got
Might as well.
I
local
can't even
news.
look at the article because I have an ad blocker, and it tells me I have to either subscribe or disable my ad blocker to be able to
Really?
read the article.
Yeah, I just it says, "Do you want to subscribe?" But I just hit the X and it lets me read the article.
I actually
where's
have
the
it to
X?
where I just sign up.
Well, I don't think I have an ad blocker on, so the thing pops up. It says you can subscribe, but then
well, you still have an iPhone, right, Sean?
Hmm?
You still have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Try to click in the bottom right or the bottom left. You see that?
Oh, the reader thing?
Yeah, try to do the
I'll
reader.
try to do that.
Because the reader's what I did, and it gets rid of all the ads. It's
But
perfect.
this article was sent to us by a good friend of ours who asked if it would be podcast worthy. Well, guess what, Jacob? It is podcast worthy.
Thank you, Jacob.
It is.
It is worthy because there's a chance that
There we go.
Louisville will be the new host city for the Sundance Film Festival.
Just a chance. It is, I think, one of the finalists that they're considering. So
6 finalists are Atlanta,
Yeah.
Boulder, Colorado, Cincinnati, Louisville, Salt Lake City, / Park City, Utah, which is where it currently is, and Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it has been held, I believe, in Park City for the last, for the last 40 years. Sundance Festival has been held in Park City, Utah. The 25 and 26 Sundance Film Festivals will still be held there, but it will serve as the headquarters for Sundance and now potentially move to one of these other finalist cities.
interesting.
So there is a chance that it could come here to Louisville.
yeah,
And if it does, it could bring a $170
Our-
million
our-
economic boom.
our wonderful and generous and thoughtful mayor that just looks after the city and all of
Yeah.
its citizens. He's working hard for it. So.
That's right. Hey, look, I see it as this way.
What part of Louisville do you think they could host the Sundance Film Festival that won't be shot or or
Oh no, any part, because they'll make sure, like just like they do anytime, like with
Well,
like
the Derby.
clean it
like
up.
Kentucky
Yeah.
Derby, they'll come in, they'll clean everything
Make the
up, they'll
homeless
make
people
it
move.
Yep, they'll kick
Yeah.
out all the homeless people. They'll get heightened patrol with they'll make sure that this part here that the Sundance Festival is happening in looks like a utopia while the rest of the city
Yeah.
burns.
It is kind of an interesting question because, I mean, other than they are wanting to redo and remodel the what is it? The Kentucky Center? No, which one is it? I'm messing it up. It's right down there. It's abandoned. It's been abandoned. The Gardens.
Oh yeah,
Louisville
yeah,
Gardens.
Gardens. Yeah.
They're wanting to redo the Louisville Gardens, and I could see. I mean, because really the question would be, where would you have all these theaters set up?
Yeah.
That you could view all the films within the festival.
Just pack them
Right.
all into the Yum Center. It'll work.
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah.
I mean, because I don't know of a place that they could do it.
That's
in
what
terms
I-
of-
yeah.
I guess I don't know because I don't go. I haven't been to another major city.
They
or
should
another
lease
major
out
film
AMC
festival.
and have them do it there.
Yeah, right.
You laugh, you laugh, but it's like there's that possibility, or I think if
Well,
even
I would-
something like Baxter Avenue.
Oh no, I get that. Baxter I get because of its I know it's not the
Yeah.
best, but because of the fact that it is like a kind of an indie theater, I
Yeah.
can see them going for that. I was just making fun of AMC because I guarantee you if they were going to do that, AMC
They
would
would
be like,
fix it up.
Let's fix this up real quick.
Oh yeah.
Oh no,
So
no.
maybe
if-
we should hope for that so that our theater gets
I would
fixed.
say,
Yeah.
or they'll show up and they'll be like,
No, we can't
yeah.
do it here.
This is AMC.
No.
That's what I think they're gonna think if they come to any place in Louisville. Like, there's nowhere in Louisville pretentious enough for the Sundance Film Festival. So I just don't think. I think they're gonna come in. I would be willing to bet Boulder, Colorado, is where this ends up, just because it's
They can do
closer.
the Blake and Baker Theater. That one's still really nice.
Yeah, I think Boulder, Colorado, is also a much more liberal city than Louisville even is. So I think that would be. I put my money on Boulder, Colorado.
I mean, they do have. Was it there? It's illegal to smoke weed there in
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah, you can go watch this
It's
pretentious film.
closer to
and-
their headquarters. I think it'd be silly for them to move the festival that far away from their headquarters, but at the same time,
it's weird because I don't know what
could.
the motivation here is, and I don't know too if it
Atlanta
would
would
it-
be a good choice.
But see, I mean,
mean,
I
that's
agree,
where-
but I don't know that
that's where
Atlanta's
movies are
any
made
better
now.
than
I mean,
Louisville as far as
so many movies are made in
theaters
Georgia
and such
now.
go.
I think Sean's right though. I mean, with Atlanta being kind
That's
of
true. It is a second Hollywood.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's turned into more so the East Coast Hollywood. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of television.
Stole your dream from you, didn't they?
It did. That was always my dream of Louisville being the East Coast Hollywood and Red Moon paving the way. But
there's time.
there's time.
Yeah.
There's 100 years. I can make it happen. But no, I'm in the same boat as Sean. I think in even the 502 film
Yeah.
president, Susie Eastman, she called the short list an honor and praised the Sundance Film Festival as one of the oldest, most esteemed, supportive pillars of the visual storytelling of creative world. I think she's right. I mean, it's an honor to have us named. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it would definitely bring, I think, a bigger footprint of the city in terms of it being on a grander global scale other than just the once a year with
Yeah.
the Derby. No doubt having that notable of a film festival here would put us on the map
Yeah,
in a bigger way. But that's why I kind of lean more towards what Sean's thinking, which is I could see them either landing in an Atlanta or even up the road a little bit in Cincy. Because here's the thing, if they land in Cincy, it's a bigger city than Louisville.
it is. Yeah,
You have both sides of the river that would attend. You have people from Louisville who would probably go there anyway and travel there to participate or even partake in the festival simply because it's not too far up the road. So I don't see it as and you could say the same thing for if we had it here in Louisville, people from Cincy would come down.
Yeah.
But is Louisville a much more traversed city for, for souvenirs and for traveling? I mean, you're in the
You got
bourbon
this-
capital.
they will.
Bourbon
They'll-
Slugger Museum.
Yeah, they'll promote all the
Muhammad
usuals.
Ali, the
But it's
Derby,
like-
like all that stuff.
But think about it. It's like if you're looking at a bigger city, it's like we're sandwiched in between Cincy and Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Nashville. Like
Well,
we're
then-
in the
Yeah.
center of all those, but we're kind of the smaller sister city of all of them.
We
Nashville's
are.
already got the music industry,
Right.
And so I am surprised that Nashville's not on that list, but I would be willing to bet that's one of the reasons why it's not. Is just because
Too
it's
much going
already,
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're right. I mean, that could be another reason why I think Louisville would be in the running. Is
Yeah.
it would be a claim to fame that the city could honor. That they think, oh, if we pick a city like Louisville that doesn't really have something like
it can
this,
become their thing.
Yeah.
it can
Right.
become, and they did mention. I mean, I'm not saying this is where they would have the festival, but they did mention that a lot of the movies, when they after they're premiered at Sundance and they're making like their kind of just small tours around before getting national releases, is that a lot of those movies do come through the Speed Art Museum and are screened at there. So it's like they already have a little bit of a relationship with Sundance in the sense that they tend to get a lot of those movies and show them there as some of their first premieres outside of the festival.
In terms of location, that would be a nice.
I could see that.
It's in a.
I don't
it's
know.
in a cleaner part of.
It is. I didn't know if it would
downtown.
be big enough, but I could see that being a location.
Yeah, well, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's right there by U of L's campus.
Yeah.
They could easily participate in this kind of being some. I mean, you have that theater that's on U of
Yeah.
L's campus.
The Floyd Theater.
The Floyd Theater is not.
Not that one.
standout
There is at least I know of one screening room in Speed, but I don't know how many like.
Yeah.
screenings
And
they
who
would
knows?
have.
Like I said, I don't know with regard to having. I've only been to a few film festivals, and the ones that were here locally, it was kind of like at JCC, and even
Yeah.
that was like they had a projector in a room where
Yeah,
they pulled
with
down
a large, yeah.
It was not like a screening,
movie theater,
Yeah,
yeah.
not something you would want to show off your independent film, regardless of the expenditure. I mean, granted, look, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm sure anybody participating in the film festival would want to.
If they get chosen, they'll definitely work all those odds and ends out about how they're going to show the movies, like what quality, what like because I'm sure they'll bring in projectors and screens and do
Yeah.
up whatever place
I
they
mean,
need to.
and for selfish purposes, it would be cool to actually, if it were regularly held here,
Yeah.
participate in a film festival in the
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of actually go. I mean, having one you could go to because you live here and it's not a pain to travel. Actually, buying a ticket and participating.
This could be Brandon's big break. I mean,
This
we can
is it.
finally
Yep.
if two
Red
or
Moon
3 years
is on
you
the
know,
map. We've already had this podcast. We could set up shop there, do live show,
They
a live
said,
show from the Sundance Film Festival.
2027
Wow, yeah.
is when their current contract with Utah is up. So I guess that gives you 3 years to get ready.
That's it. That's it. I said I wanted to be Oscar nominated by Oscars 100.
Well,
This is like the 93rd year coming up.
you're getting close. I mean,
So we got time, but we ain't got time.
and you know, if in 3 to 4 years they're doing Sundance here, you know, that gives you another 3 years to get it make it happen.
That's it.
It's like
That's it. We're shooting for the stars, guys. Shooting for the stars. All right, I think that's going to do it for our headline section of the night. We're ready to roll into our relationship segment.
yeah.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the moon up above and a thing called love.
I just elbowed it.
He
that?
dropped his.
I elbowed my plaque and it fell down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what he thinks of you, Jacob. Made those plaques for our 300th
working, is it?
episode.
No, it worked. I don't think it was. There it goes.
There you go. Ooh, that's a delay.
It did take it a minute. I think I hit it while it was still processing whatever.
No, I'd paused it on here. It should have just went.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
it took it a
come on,
second.
man.
Try a different.
That's an
one.
M3.
Oh, I did earlier. I played There
Right?
It Is, and it played right away.
Is that an M3?
This
Nope.
one?
It's an M2.
It was instant there. I hit this one earlier, and it played instantly.
Oh, there it is.
So
No, it just had
there you
it
go.
lagged. Like Sean
was
said,
just
I don't
that one.
have the latest and greatest. I've got to sell this one now.
Yeah.
I need.
It
it's
doesn't
working,
just
guys.
work
It's
anymore.
working.
I just need another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to go out and spend
I think you need to
$5,000.
contact a
Yeah.
big corporation about this.
What?
And tell them that it was at Steam Deck. You need to contact Steam Deck and be like,
makes that?
hey,
Customer service.
yeah.
Get on the phone with them tonight and say, look, your crap doesn't work.
Elgato Systems, we're coming for you.
That's it.
Elgato Systems?
Elgato makes that.
Yep.
Is
Made
that
in
how you say it?
Mexico.
Yeah.
Probably. If
Elgato.
it's Gato, yeah, Elgato. That
Oh,
means
they're-
cat.
No. Elgato Diablo?
Yeah, Gato means cat. Diablo means devil.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I don't think, but Elgato is just, I don't.
Yeah.
The cat.
I mean, a cat. It's
Yeah.
a boy cat.
I used to have
Elgato
a-
means
I used
the
to have
cat.
an Elgato screen capture thing.
Well, I would say
ago.
that's what they're known for. All their screen capture
Yeah.
stuff. They're for gamers.
Yeah.
But they make this thing, which is kind of like it's a macro box.
Yeah.
You can just set it up to do a bunch of
They
different
just,
stuff.
it's the Spanish name for the cat. That's their company.
It's made in Taiwan.
It's made in Taiwan. They probably didn't even know. They're just like, Elgato sounds good.
I like the way it flows off the tongue.
Yeah. I need to pick something that sounds American.
Yeah.
Elgato.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
I mean, it does now.
Who knows? Maybe in Taiwanese that sounds
Maybe it
different.
means something
Maybe
else in
it's something-
Taiwanese. Yeah.
Was it Neil telling us that Moon or MOON?
Oh, it's not separated. It's one word, Elgato. 'Cause
Yeah.
in
Elgato,
Spanish,
yeah.
it's L and then space gato.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
it's just Elgato.
Yeah, so it probably means something completely different.
Who knows if it even means anything?
It probably doesn't. I just didn't realize it was
But
a
the thing
single
is
word.
our original shirt had just MOON on it.
Yes.
And Neil said it means door in Korean.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, because he's like, people would ask him, like, why do you have the word
Door?
door on your shirt?
Yeah.
Like they'd ask him, and he'd have to explain it to him,
Yeah.
which is great. It's great
That's
marketing.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't know that. But no, I don't have a lower third for this one because I scrapped the original idea.
We
In
changed
favor,
mid-show.
we changed it during the review, and after that terrible instance of customer service that Sean received,
Yeah.
and them hanging up on him in the
From
middle of
zone.
Yeah.
just terrible.
Can't believe it.
It's like, we can't figure out how to solve your problem. We're just gonna hang up on you now.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And she didn't even like communicate that much. I
know.
mean, I kept saying like, "Hello, are you still there? I'm just checking." And she'd say, "Yes, please hold." And it's just like, "Well, I've been doing that."
We
You know?
heard.
Could
we
you give me an
heard
update?
her tell you when you asked
Yeah.
if she liked podcasts. We heard her just ignore it.
Oh, she ignored that completely.
She totally
She was
wrote
like,
it
"Oh
off.
yes, just another minute."
Yep.
Yeah, whatever. I don't even know what accent that was because she
Yeah.
was Indian for sure. Like,
It's okay. I combine Australian and British.
Just,
and
He couldn't.
if you're not American,
There was someone the other
I'm
day. It's
gonna
like it was
just
either
make
a
up-
Scottish accent or an
Yeah, I'm
Australian
gonna
accent.
make
That's-
up an accent for you. It doesn't matter.
I try to be all of my 23andMe
But yeah,
in one accent.
Yeah.
I just try to do it all. I'm
Yeah.
a mutt, so why not talk
yeah.
like a mutt?
Yeah.
You know,
I've
Yeah.
had very good experiences with customer service before at Amazon, and then I've had experiences like today. There's nothing in between.
Yeah.
It's either exceptional or garbage.
Yeah.
that really does seem to be the case these days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like and even I've seen it too, where you'll have some companies because they're new and up and coming or starting out. They have, I mean, that's what they really push
Right.
early on is,
Yeah.
is tremendous customer service,
That falls
and then
off.
it starts to fall off
Yeah.
once they get bigger because, of course, now it costs more money. They can't, it eats up too much of their bottom line, so they end up cutting back, and it no longer is a claim to fame. Apple, I would say, has treaded in that territory.
Oh,
They're-
yeah.
They're still not terrible. I still get a little bit more of a... To me, they've streamlined the automation process a lot more. Like if you get on their app, whether you're, going into the Apple store for an in-person appointment,
Yeah.
or even if it's just something as simple as troubleshooting a problem, they at least do a thorough job of, I think, walking you through the proper channels. And it seems like sometimes when you get to a certain point, you're just like, I either need to just talk to somebody or
Yeah.
I've already done all this and this isn't working. I think they do a better job of getting you the answers you're looking for faster. To me, that's a proper approach of transitioning into, again, a huge corporation
Yeah.
that serves, literally billions of people
Yeah.
with their devices versus something like an Amazon where, they have billions of people they're serving. Well, not billions, I guess. I don't know.
No,
They're
it's
worldwide.
worldwide, yeah.
It is worldwide.
Yeah.
But even still, you're also talking about, millions of transactions that now they have to be accountable for. That understandably, I could see how when you're dealing with such back and forth and also still having to realize like you're running a business, you can't just, I mean, like you said, most of the time when you're dealing with a certain seller on Amazon, it's easy enough to go on there, write a bad review or say, this was shipped to me broken,
Yep.
won't buy this again. And they immediately reach out and they're like, how can we rectify this?
Yes.
We'll
Yeah.
send you a new
That's
one.
when
Keep
it's a
the old one.
seller. Like
Right.
when it's Amazon selling it or and Amazon shipping it, that's when it's kind of hit or miss. And to be perfectly honest with you, most of the time when I get someone who is stateside, it is an exceptional experience. I've had people sit there and talk to me on the phone while they're typing and trying to figure stuff out, and they're asking about, hey, I see you're in Kentucky. Like, hey, what's the weather like there, man? It's hotter than hell here.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I've had people have conversations when you get these people in another country. It's straight to business. They have a script that they're reading off of. They do not deviate from that script. It's very impersonal, and it's obviously garbage customer service. The one thing I will say about Amazon, which is how Apple used to be, is if I get on the app and go to the customer service tab, I'm chatting with someone immediately. Like, it puts me straight into a chat with somebody. And if I want to talk to somebody, all I got to do is hit I need more help and then put my phone number in, and they call me instantly. And usually it's a 1 to 5 minute wait, and then you're talking to somebody.
Yeah, I wish my experience was that simple.
This time it was longer, and when I got somebody, they sucked. But that's usually how it goes. Like, you put your number in, it calls you, and it will almost always say in the middle afternoon, at 3 in the morning. It doesn't matter. It's usually you're third in line, and it's like 1 to 5 minutes, and you're on.
Does not happen with Sony at all.
Oh, no.
You've had an
Lord,
experience.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let me
Sony's
tell you
terrible.
about this, because I was dumbfounded at how I think just ignorant Sony, how their practices are as far as customer services, because it's designed this way. And I'm like, that's piss poor. So I had an event where I was looking through just my bank statement and stuff, and like was figuring bills and stuff, and I had a charge from PlayStation that was like $63. I could tell it was I checked my emails too, because I was like, okay, I have this charge that looks like a $50 game, because like that's what it averages out to with tax, 63 something. So I was like, somebody bought a game. So I get in, and I do have an email saying thank you for your pre-order. I was like, okay. So it was done on my account because it came to my email, and I look at what it is, and it's that new Astro Bot game that's coming out in September.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I know what happened. When on my birthday, all my nieces and nephew were over, and they were playing Astro's Playroom, and I'm like, I guarantee you, somebody accidentally hit something, and it took them to the pre-order for Astro Bot, which is the sequel, and they accidentally pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fine, I'll just cancel the pre-order, because as long as you haven't downloaded anything, you can always cancel your pre-order. But you can't just go into the menu and cancel it. You can't go online and cancel it. The only way you can cancel it, you have to get a hold of customer service and request that this be canceled, and they will refund you. When you try to do that, and this is a problem that wasn't just recent. Like, I literally got on Reddit to figure out what was going on, and for like the last 4 to 5 years, there were posts from the last 4 to 5 years of people having the same exact issue. I get online, and it wants you to chat with the bot. Like, you can pull out the chat box, like, okay, this will be simple. I'll just tell it I need this cancellation.
Right.
I get on, and it's like, oh, in order to refund you, you have to speak with an actual person. So I will put you in touch with an actual person, not just the bot. It's like, that's fine. So I wait a few minutes. It comes back. There are no people available right now. It's like, please try again later. And I was like, no, I'll wait for somebody. So I try this bot 2 or 3 times, and every time it's like, please try again later or call. So I call customer service. It's an automated thing. You go through the whole thing, and it finally goes to get somebody. Goes, oh, everybody's busy right now. You'll have to call back. I'm like, is there no queue? Can you not just sit and wait for somebody to answer?
Yeah.
Like, why can I? And I do this multiple times, and then I get on Reddit and look, and like everybody's like, yeah, like every time you try to call, there's like they're too busy to answer a call or answer the chat. You just have to try again later. Wow. And one dude was like, yeah, I've been trying for 3 months, and I keep getting the same thing. And I'm like, hell no. It's like this was an accident. And I'm not paying for this dumb game that I don't want. So I constantly is like blowing this bot up. And I'm like, I will wait for somebody. No, I will wait. Like, just blowing this bot up. And then finally it's like, would you like to wait in the queue? And I'm like, oh, after a million. It's like, yes. Yeah. It's like, you're person 308. And I'm like, yes, I'll wait. 308 people ahead of me. I do not care. It's like, I left my phone.
You have to be that persistent.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I left my phone, and like every few minutes the queue would go. It only took like 40 minutes, which to me is like,
but still 40 minutes.
That's long.
Is insane.
That's long, but still, I'm like, I would have rather sat on hold for 40 minutes or like this for 40 minutes to have it handled than you tell me I have to keep calling back and never know when it was going to get handled.
They're hoping hoping you'll just
yeah,
quit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it ticked me off, and it went like down, and finally someone got on there. I chatted with them through the thing. They looked it up. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." Like, and I got my money back. Like, it went into my account. Everything was taken care of great. And he's like, "Would you like to do a review?" I was like, "Oh hell yes, I would." And I gave him a great review. I was like, "This person solved my problem instantly." What I'm pissed off about is that it took me so long to find someone to solve my problem, because instead of placing me in a queue or having me hold, like, I can understand if you say, like the bot did eventually, there's 300 people ahead of you. Do you really want to wait? And if I decide I didn't want to, that's fine. You gave me the option. The fact that you insistently were trying to avoid that and not give me the option to wait on hold, that you just told me like 10 times, everybody's busy, you just have to try again later. It's like, no, I'm going to wait right now.
Yeah. That's
and it's
absolutely
designed
asinine.
that way, and it ticked me off. It's like, why would you design your system that you cannot reach anybody?
Well, because just like Sean said, they're hoping you either give up or
and
forget.
just say, well,
'Cause
I
I
guess I'll just
guarantee
eat
you-
the $60 and keep the game.
And that's the absurd part, is that one, that people would be willing and are not irate enough to raise hell, that they would be upending the system immediately, being like, oh crap, people are pissed at us.
Yeah.
But there's probably enough people that it justifies the cost of Sony ignoring fixing the system, because enough people don't go through with the cancellation and then end up being charged and don't care.
Yeah, they intentionally make it to where it's almost impossible to cancel or get a refund because they don't want you to. And I'm like, I understand that.
The only time I dealt with PlayStation customer service, and it was very minimal, but I also think they buttressed this because of the botched rollout of this game. And also they put forth the resources that they know were funded by the company.
Yeah.
And that is the game Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red.
I did it
They
too.
went through and allowed and the same thing I think actually happened
did it with No Man's Sky
With
also.
No Man's Sky, but that I ended up
Those
buying
were
on
occasions
disc.
where like they knew wholesale, like worldwide, that was a problem.
Well, because they were basically also holding, CD Projekt Red, who made Cyberpunk, they were holding their feet to the fire, and they knew they were going to be, either in lawsuit for lots of money, or I think you don't want to create that much bad blood between, a huge partner with Sony. So I think it was basically Sony saying, well, we're going to eat the upfront cost of refunding these people the game, the money for the game. But at the end of the day, we know we're going to get the money back because you're going to give us what we asked for. And I think it's weird, though, that it's like it shouldn't take a monumental step or wrong step from a partner of yours for you to then, because I think back to, this was 2012 or 13? I think it was, and actually it might have been the summer of 2011, before my senior year, when they had the huge hack. And the PlayStation Network was down for like 2 or a whole month. And they came back, and when they came back up, they were so sorry, and they gave you
free games
and a movie or something
Yeah.
that you could select from. And I just think about it, I'm like, so this is not the first rodeo of Sony having to basically beg for and ask for your forgiveness of how they've dealt with you as far as a customer. And yet, when it comes to just a regular customer service
just
thing,
a very simple thing, of canceling a pre-order. It's like, I can understand if I bought the game, downloaded the game, played the game, said, oh, I don't like this, I want a refund. I can understand maybe having to jump through hoops for that.
No, that's when they'll hold your feet to the fire
Yeah.
and be extra
Yeah.
strict about
There
no,
should be a way
you played
from your
61
PlayStation
minutes.
to cancel a pre-order.
But yeah, if
Absolutely.
I've pre-ordered something, it doesn't come out for like 2 months.
Yeah.
There's not a lick of data from that game on my system yet. It's like I haven't pre-downloaded anything. There was nothing there. It's like I should have been able to just go in and say, never mind, I don't want this. Cancel this pre-order.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to contact customer service to cancel a pre-order, I'm like, this is stupid.
It's ridiculous. If you would have pre-ordered it from Amazon, you could have canceled it 24 hours before it shipped.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised too, because that I have been able to, and I've gotten online and changed. You can either change your subscription level to PlayStation Plus, or you can outright cancel it on
Yeah,
there.
that you can do.
You can totally get on there and say, I don't. And maybe that's from people like Amazon and where customers have complained so much that when it comes to something as a service like that, where, because I mean, Prime's the same way. You can get on there, and of course you got to click through. They want you to click through a bunch of times. Are you really sure? But they give you the ability to do it.
Yeah, the subscriptions you can cancel and change, but yeah, if you pre-order a game, it's like, nah, you're locked into that game unless you contact customer service. And I'm like, this is stupid.
And it's BS too, because to me, even if I submit or commit to buying it, the charge almost in the same way that I think Amazon does this.
No, they charge you the minute you pre-order it. So that's
that's what I think is BS, because Amazon doesn't charge you until it ships.
Yeah.
And to me, the game should not be charging my account until I know that it's available.
Yeah.
The moment it hits your servers and the game is complete, then you can charge my account.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a 5-day period, because that's bull crap that it's 3 months out from
and that's
release.
probably why it
could
is
get
so
delayed.
hard to cancel a pre-order, is because they already charge you for it, and they don't want to send you that money back. But I'm like, that's not my problem. If I'm not actually getting your product, then I deserve my money back.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I had a similar thing that happened with Nintendo and the Switch, and their customer service was it was completely opposite of your experience with Sony.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
I bought. I'm trying to think what game it was. Under the impression that if I purchased the game, then my kids would be able to play that game too, because it was it's on my account, and I had read online that if you purchase the games on your main Nintendo account and you have sub accounts for children, they'll be able to have access to your game library. It's not true. It's a lie. And so I got on and bought the game. Would not work no matter how we tried it. Even if I logged into my account on their Switches, it would still say this game was purchased on a different console and you cannot play it on this console. And so I had to call Nintendo, and I was I don't think I was on hold for 10 minutes, and I was connected with someone that was speaking clear English. And the dude, I told him what happened. I said, look, I just bought the game like 15 minutes ago, and it will not let us, share it with my kids. Like, I'm not buying it 3 times so that it can be on all 3 of our Switches.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not. That's stupid.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, no, I agree. He's unfortunately, there's the only way that you can do it. And he was trying to tell me, and it was like I had to literally log out of my Nintendo account, not just Switch users. I had to log out of my Nintendo account on my Switch
and log
into it on theirs, which meant if they were playing the game, all of the like if it was Smash Brothers, all of the characters that you unlocked would be on my account only and not on either one of their profiles. And so it was like, and he was like, I understand. He said the only issue, and he said, I'm going to do it this one time, but once the game has been started, you can't get a refund.
Yeah.
If you download it and don't ever start the game up, you can get a refund within 48 hours or something like that.
I'll give PlayStation this, and maybe it's the same on Xbox. I know they give you 60 minutes.
Yeah.
If you've played it for longer than 60 minutes, you can't get a refund.
No, this was flat out. He said, I can see that once you started the game, it registered the game to your console. And he says, normally we cannot do that. But he said, I understand your frustration. I've had it happen myself. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this one time. But he said, just know that you can't share games, and that this is the only workaround, and it's not ideal, but that's all we got. But if you download a game and start the game, we cannot refund it from now on. And I was like,
and I don't know if Sony's
your understanding.
changed, but when I was trying to get it, it literally told me that if I downloaded any part of the game, I couldn't cancel the pre-order. Like, I was stuck with that $60.
Yeah, as far as I know, and I'm not
sure.
sure.
I guess it has changed some, because was their actual website before I even talked to anybody. When I got on the website to see if I could get cancel the pre-order, it said you can by contacting customer service, but it said if any part of the game has already been downloaded, like if you have your system set to pre-download a game that you pre-order, like they said if it's already pre-downloaded stuff, you can't cancel the pre-order anymore. So you have to make sure nothing's downloaded on the system.
You can't cancel the pre-order, but you could potentially refund it after you bought the game.
That's the iffy part, because they would have to be like, yeah, we're willing to do that, but I don't know.
No, that may be the stipulation between the pre-order and the actual content there being
it's the same, dude. You're getting a refund either way, so I don't know why that would matter.
Because canceling a pre-order is canceling it before it comes out.
It is, but I still have to get refunded the money. So.
Sometimes the games do get downloaded before the game gets released.
True.
And then it's playable on the release date.
Yeah.
If it got downloaded before, then obviously you can't cancel the pre-order because it's already there.
They wouldn't be able to give me my money back. But then at that point, I'm like, well, if I wanted a refund, what's the difference?
Yeah, then I think it would.
Did they say that on the phone?
On the website, it's like they wouldn't be able to reimburse me money for downloading that.
I'm almost certain, and again,
And they might, if I had talked to somebody, they might have. The
I say
website said,
I
yeah.
thought they had a 60-minute rule too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because I
any
know they
purchase.
have the trial versions of games that
Yeah.
are 60 minutes.
Yeah.
But or no, actually it's like 5 hours. But I know this was a point of contention from like years
Well, at
ago.
that point, it might have been. Then I would have had to wait for the game to actually release and then get a refund, which
And-
still
and
would have been stupid.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It is stupid, but I think that's the case. I
Yeah.
think they want you to jump through the hoop of, well, we can't.
we can't cancel your pre-order now, but
Yeah.
in a month when it
And it
releases,
may
we'll refund
be
it. Which
a
is
stupid financial
Yeah.
thing on how it looks on the
That
books.
might be how it works. Yeah.
But they may just say, well, because you pre-ordered it, and once it reaches a certain window, if
Yeah.
it's downloaded, we can refund it, but you actually have to
I'd have
Yeah.
to wait for it to come out.
for
yeah.
it to be out on release day to refund
Which
it.
is dumb, but I could see that. It's just so they make it hard. And I get it. You're a business, like you're trying not to lose money, but at the same time, if you're not doing right by your customers, because there's a difference. I understand like not wanting to be scammed. Like, oh, I beat this whole game in a day, so now I'm going to try to get a refund. Like, I get that. Like, that's a problem. Like, but when it's something as simple as this was accidentally pre-ordered, I don't want or
It
need
should
it.
be easier than that. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, you should have been able to get on your account on
Like, I
the
just really
actual
should have just
PlayStation.
logged
Yeah.
into PlayStation and just say
Should've been able to
cancel
go to purchase
this.
history and just
And
cancel it.
I,
I
said that.
will
I was looking
say-
at that and I was like, I know exactly what happened there.
I do this intentionally, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but I did because took my old PS4 and gave it to my parents for my nieces and nephews.
Oh, I have it set where I have to enter my password now to
Oh,
buy
you do?
anything.
That's exactly what I did.
Now, I didn't have it before
Ah,
because no one ever,
okay.
like, the only person that ever used my PlayStation was me.
But-
And to be fair, I'm not going to call anyone out, but I do have a few nieces and nephews that have played that game, like, constantly. But then there was a couple there that had never really played it before, so I'm kind of thinking it was maybe one of them because the others, I'm like, they've played this game, like, 20 times, like every time they come over and have never accidentally bought anything
Hey,
before.
to be fair,
but it can happen
you
to
should have
anybody.
kept the pre-order because it's not just a
I'm looking for-
mini
I-
game.
I was
It's a
gonna say.
full
Oh,
game.
no, I know it's a full
and
game.
it's supposed to be more like Mario and not just.
Oh, I want to play it. I
Yeah.
just don't want to pay $60 for it right now. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that I'm like.
I'm gonna pre-order it.
I'm gonna.
but-
I'll buy. Like I'll wait till it's free or I buy it discounted in the
See,
future.
you could have saved all this trouble by just calling Sean, and
Yeah.
Sean gave you $60,
Yep.
and then you give him the game.
You can't do
code.
that.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, just be
Yeah.
on my system because
Yeah.
it
No,
wasn't
but
a hard
you
copy.
could cross share. Remember, you can log in
That's
on
true.
his PlayStation.
Yeah, but
could
then he
just
doesn't
down-
really own it. He has to log into my account every time he wants to play
Still,
it.
still better than Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think that is dumb.
That is
Yeah.
that you can do the like all you got. It's very Sony has made that very easy, and you can only do it with one other person at a time.
Yeah.
but technically you can do it with an infinite amount of people. You could just only share one at a time.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's different if you have, if my sons both had their own
Game.
Nintendo accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Like I mean, technically they do, but those accounts are controlled by mine.
Right.
Like they're
Yeah.
sub accounts.
Right.
You know, for kids. And if it was other family members or something like that, I can understand that. But when it's children accounts that are purposefully like it's a kid's account, the difference between that and just a regular family member's account, because you can link
Yeah.
family members. I could link you to my account and we could be a family if we wanted to, but a big gay family.
That's it.
But yeah, if my kids' accounts, they're specifically to be like mirrored from mine, and so that's why I'm like, if I have it in my game library, they should too. I just
Yeah.
think that's stupid. On my
No, I
PlayStation,
agree.
Yeah.
I got 3 profiles on my PlayStation. My kids can play all the games that I've downloaded that I allow them to play.
Yep.
And so that's great. That's how it should be. I spent $60 for this console for the game. I should be able to play it wherever I want.
Well, and I think too, it's like because they basically they're locking you into doing the exact same thing as buying 3 different cartridges.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's
Well,
like you could technically
but you
take
don't have to
one
do
and
that.
share it, but and then you could have save data.
that's what
on
we
each
ended up
individual
doing.
Shit.
We ended up buying the game
Right.
On the cartridge, and
Because
then
any
we
amount
just
of people
share
can play the
pass it.
cartridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But it is weird because I don't know, and you may be right, but is there a limit for how many
Okay,
users can
you
log
could-
into a PlayStation?
I don't know, how many, if there's a limit on accounts, but if there is, however many accounts you can put on a PlayStation,
You can
you could
share.
technically, you just can only do one at a time. Like if your account and Sean's account's on my PlayStation, you could have it set to share with me, and I can play any of your games. And if I want to play Sean's games, I would just have to go in the system and change it to him instead of you.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will say, and that is again a friendly part of where Sony's got things right
Yes.
from the consumer gamer aspect is
Yeah.
they've streamlined that process to make it a lot easier digitally than it would, like it was back when
Yes.
sharing discs.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would have thought Sony would have been the last ones to ever open up that feature, and I think that existed even on the PS4.
It was different. It was you had to jump through a lot more hoops to do it on the PS4.
Yeah, they made it easier with the PS5.
With the PS4, you had to make the other person's, like, your console would have to be labeled as my home console.
That's right.
And my console had to be labeled as your home console to share games, which is really annoying.
It is.
This one, you don't have to do that. There's just a feature that you click, yes, share with this console, like, and you could play it.
Yeah. Because I've actually done that with, and it's funny, I have certain games from your library on mine, and that's what's cool, but it actually shows it locked if somebody else is using it.
Yeah.
But then it'll come back to being unlocked if they're not using it
Yeah, I've
anymore.
shared with Kyle and Charles before because we tend to play a lot of similar games. Me and Charles tend to play more similar games than me, Kyle, or Hunter
I don't think
do,
I have
so.
either one of you all on mine.
You're on mine. You came
Really?
over because
you logged in to play.
I mean, I
something
logged
once.
into my account on yours
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
play my games,
That's
that's all it takes. Because I mean, that's how
I don't see any of your games on when
Well,
I
he
log
would have
in.
to
I have
into
to log
yours.
into yours. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
his
see
account
your
has to be on
content.
yours, and then under his account, he would just have to mark, like, and you can do it because that's what me and Kyle do. Once we're logged, like Charles and Kyle are logged into mine, and then if I want to play one of their games, I just go into Kyle's account, go into the settings, and say share with this system. Back out of his account and go into my account, and then I can download any
Now,
of his games.
I think as far as you all being on mine though, it's still locked behind like your password.
Yeah, if
Like,
you're
I
not
can't log into yours.
See,
because,
me,
yeah.
Charles, and Kyle have shared our passwords with each
Yeah.
other just so we don't have to call every time and be like, hey, can I share? Like, we just literally,
Yeah.
because, like, if I go in and mark Kyle to play, but then Charles wants to play on his, all he has to do is go in and switch it on in his, and it'll automatically boot me off. So you don't really have to. It's like if I can't play it because someone else is logged in, it's like, well, I'll just play this later or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is crazy the world of digital sharing.
They make things
Yeah.
a little easier sometimes.
Well, that's the thing. There's
not
again,
customer service.
That's good
though.
service.
Well, I was gonna
I
say-
remember when Apple, you could just walk in
Oh,
to
yeah.
the Genius Bar and wait in line and talk to somebody. Now you have to make an appointment 4 days
Yep.
out, and
Yeah.
it's like,
I remember when you walk in and be like, oh yeah, this is chipped here. Well, we'll just give you a whole new phone.
that's right. Yeah, used to be like that.
Yeah, now they
Yeah.
they won't give you nothing. They're like,
No.
we're going to see if how we could fix this, and then we'll charge you $700.
That's
to do
right.
it.
No, they wait for the complaints to pile up on Reddit or Facebook or wherever,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, then they're like, "We've created a process to streamline,
Yeah.
like how you're going to bring in your
Yeah.
left headphone from your AirPod Pro,
Yeah.
and we're going to change it out." 'cause
Well, that's
there's a
only if there's
static
a
problem.
universal problem, because like there was times when like literally like I might have like a chip in the phone, and they'd just be like, well, here's a whole new one.
I'm actually
Free
of
of
I
charge.
know,
I'm
yeah.
having a static issue with my AirPods now.
The are they AirPod ones?
They're AirPod Pro 2s.
Twos, yeah.
Oh,
No.
see, the ones had really bad static issues. I haven't heard anything.
It's
about
weird
the
'cause
twos.
it
The
just
twos
started.
Did. That's
Did
what
they?
I had.
It
And-
just started
yeah.
though, and it's like in one ear. Every now and then I'll hear like, shh, shh,
Yep.
like and I keep
Yeah.
thinking that it's like it's rubbing the inside of my ear
Yep.
or something like that. But it's not. It's just
No, mine just started doing it recently again, and I had originally taken these were my originals. I took them in, gave them the whole thing, but they just replaced the one AirPod, gave it back to
Yeah.
me. It took like an hour for them to do it because they had to test to make sure it did have the problem.
yeah.
And then they gave me a new AirPod with it. Worked fine, honestly, up for a couple years because
Yeah.
I've had them now since
I think mine are
2019.
two or 3 years old.
And it just started happening again in the left one. And I can tell really bad when it's just like, it's fine with music because there's enough, music in terms of the instrumentals and the vocals that it drowns it out. But it's really bad with podcasts. If it's just like a monotone voice or
Yeah.
something, I can
Yeah.
hear it instantly. It's
Wow.
terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they
but-
might be coming out with 3s. Soon,
Well, I was going to
so-
say this is the life cycle of I've had them now for
Yep.
about 4 years. They'll come out with a Pro that's updated, not
Yeah.
just in terms of the case.
Yeah.
Because I do want the USB-C case,
Yeah.
so all
Yeah,
my Apple stuff's
the-
USB-C now.
They do have the USB-C case, but the
Pros are the exact
they're still
same.
they're still Pro 2s. They're just
Yes.
in a USB-C case.
It's so
So,
stupid.
and-
It's dumb.
Um,
But I'm actually okay with that because I didn't want to buy them last year when they came out.
I
with the
almost
case.
bought because I have the Pro 1s, and I almost bought the 2s with the C case for Amazon's Prime deal because it was really good. But at the same time, I was just thinking, and like they're predicting in the fall to have the third generation or AirPod 3s or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, they're going to be more expensive, but hopefully they won't have static in like 6 months. So
Yeah, I hope so too. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in to our movie news and our big corporate, greedy, crazy customer service stories, our grievances.
it's like, we ain't giving you your money back ever.
That's right. Oh, gosh. I went too deep on that last. Read our email, Keith.
All right, Dan.
You
I
better
had to
do
clear
it,
my
Keith.
throat. Oh, read
I
the
didn't
email.
even hear what he said. Oh, the email. Well, I got to pull it up.
What?
I don't have it.
You know the email address.
Oh, you want me to say the email?
Yes,
I thought you were.
we don't have email.
Well, I was getting excited. I was like, oh, we have an email. I got to go into our email and find it. You want me to say the
We
actual
just got
address?
a letter. We just got a letter.
We didn't.
Let's find out who
But you know
it's
what?
from.
Because we so badly want one, I need you to anybody just send us an email at rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com.
What if there was AI listening to this show and I get a false email that's from Amazon customer service?
I'm
and
okay
they're
with
like,
that.
We're gifting you 100 Chromebooks for your troubles.
Yeah.
Click
Actually,
this
I
link.
just got an email from them that's telling me that I need to contact my local law enforcement because the product was stolen.
Are you
What?
serious?
And I have video. I just emailed them back, like replied, because I checked my doorbell and
You have
front
no
camera.
video of delivery.
No, I have a video of the guy coming to the front door and then he takes the box back to the van and
Yeah.
never comes back.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I just replied and said I have video of your driver ringing the doorbell,
Literally
and then,
thieving you.
So if
and then
somebody
They
takes
stole it.
he takes it back to the truck. I don't know that he.
Well, he
stole
said
it.
that he couldn't deliver it, so
Yeah,
Ah,
but then he
okay.
says later that it was delivered, and so
so it's like you might want to get in touch with your employee and find out why he stole
Yeah.
the package. Then
yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
the thing is I don't know if you could tell from the video. Is it from the Ring doorbell?
yeah,
Pointed out. I mean, do you know? Was it like an Amazon truck?
it's an Amazon truck. Yeah.
Oh,
you can
so
see it,
okay, so
yeah.
it's an Amazon delivery
Oh,
person.
watch it show up on
Yeah.
your doorstep tomorrow.
He's got an Amazon vest and everything on in the
Yep.
video.
Yeah.
But yeah, he tried to deliver it at 4 something and
I mean, I understand.
walked it back to the van, and then it says on the tracking that at 6:43 it was delivered safely, and it's not there. He never came back. I checked the camera footage. There's nothing.
Like that's piss poor customer service
Yeah.
too. Because I understand, like, theft, but I'm just saying, it's just like
We
oh,
gotta
we're not
go.
responsible for this anymore. Call the cops.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean that honestly is probably the worst response that I've heard from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been told that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably call again on my way home. Just
I
should.
would.
Yeah.
And,
You should.
and I will say maybe it didn't show up on the front camera. Check around the perimeter. I don't know, by the garage door.
I looked
and-
at all the cameras. I've got one in the driveway, the front yard, the doorbell, the backyard. He literally comes to the front door, rings the doorbell, waits about 15 seconds,
And then leaves.
he takes it back to the van and drives off. And at no other point during the night does he come back to the house.
Okay.
So
Wow. Well, either it's an instance of, he clicked delivered when he shouldn't have, and he was going to deliver it tomorrow, and it's showing as delivered
Yeah,
when it
we'll see.
wasn't, or maybe he's trying to steal it,
I don't know.
and Amazon's got to fire somebody.
We're going to find out.
We're gonna get them on. Get them. We're
Get
gonna,
'em.
We're gonna interrogate them. Take care of business. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I forgot to say our social media right there at the bottom of your screen: Red Moon Book on Facebook, Red Moon Tweet on X, Red Moon Pics on Instagram, and of course, search for Red Moon Productions on both YouTube and Rumble, live on both those platforms.
fool.
Thank you all so much for tuning in, and remember, next week, Deadpool versus Wolverine is a movie we're reviewing.
Yeah.
So tune in for that review. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheater.
twice in one show.
Yeah, I did it twice
Incredible.
last week.
Oh, I wasn't here.
I know, I did it for you.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.